Alright everybody, we're diving back into Magic the Gathering Arena, and we're going to continue doing some duels with my Enchantment deck. We've seen this one before, but if you haven't, that means you haven't seen the previous video that I uploaded for Magic the Gathering Arena, so go check it out if you want to find out more information about the deck. So with that said, let's get into the matches. Alright, we're starting off with a hand that could go horribly wrong because we don't have a good selection of mana. We have two forests, and my deck is using forest and plains creatures, but I'm going to keep it and hope that I draw into the stuff that I need. Mostly because I got a Llanowar Elves, and I like this card. It essentially increases our mana pool by 1 as long as he's on the field, because his effect allows him to tap to add an additional forest to my pool. So, fingers crossed that I draw some plains, but even if I don't, I've got a decent amount of forest creatures, so I could draw into those guys as well. We've got options here. Well, so far things aren't looking too good, but we do get to attack him one time with the Llanowar Elves. That doesn't happen too often. Now, first things first, I'm a little bit too relaxed right now to be playing Magic the Gathering. This is a game that requires a certain level of intense focus, and I've been listening to a band called the Marias, and they put me in the most chilled out space that I've ever been in my entire life. It's amazing, but I need to get sharp right now. I need to get ready to fight some zombies. Look at this, there's a diregraph ghoul on the field, and I gotta focus up. Okay, so we still haven't drawn any plains. That's a bit unfortunate, but we did draw an Oaken form, and I'm tempted to just throw it out on the Llanowar Elves and get some free damage. I'm going to assume for a minute that my opponent probably has cards like Murder in his deck because he is playing with zombies, and it's thematic. But you know, we'll see how this plays out. We'll see how this plays out. Well, sort of wasn't expecting that to happen. So he's basically removed the effect of my enchantment by placing another enchantment on my creature. That's impressive. I appreciate that. Okay, so what we can try to do is, I don't know. Now we're getting a bad go of it right now because we're not drawing any plains. That's very unfortunate. More than 50% of our hand right now is locked behind a plains mana. And now that he has the Death Baron on the field, all of his zombie and I believe skeleton creatures, yeah, are going to have Death Touch, and they're going to get +1/+1. But it's okay, because we got a plains on the field. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get rid of that Death Baron, because that's going to cause more problems than anything else that my opponent can play, most likely, because it seems this is going to be similar to what happened when we were battling against the Merfolk deck, where, whoops, I did not mean to do that. Which means, I'm guessing here that my opponent is going to go for playing a large number of zombie creatures and just buffing them with cards like the Death Baron. So if I can shut that down, I might be able to keep myself safe a little bit longer. And I accidentally used the Llanowar Elves ability instead of trying to attack with them. See, what I tell you, I'm too relaxed right now. I'm so chilled out, and it's causing me problems. Now, he finally destroyed the Llanowar Elves, but what's interesting is he used a lot of resources on it. He used Deadweight and Murder. Now, granted, I used a resource on it as well, but I came out kind of on top of that trade, so it's okay, maybe? So let's get the Novice Knight and the Suspicious Bookcase on the field. The Novice Knight will be able to defend against the Ghoul and kill it, unless he has some instant spells to deal damage to it, but this is good. This is good. We're finally starting to stabilize a little bit. When Skymarch Bloodletter enters the battlefield, opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And I think my suspicions were kind of correct about his playstyle. It seems like most of his creatures are black. This guy has a cool effect. Creatures you control with a +1/+1 counter have trample on them. And that effect is not going to come into play at all because he's been murdered. But that was a bit of a red herring. I almost kind of wanted him to do that. That's a bit unfortunate because the Troll-bred Guardian would have paired really well with Ajani, which I just drew. But still, we can play Ajani and use him to gain some life, because we've been taking a lot of punishment, so let's get back in the game that way. Ooh boy, we're getting overwhelmed here. I think this one is going to be wrapped up pretty quickly, because there's not much I can do about flying creatures, and my opponent has 2 of them. The best thing I can try to do right now is just gain some life with a Johnny. I'm just going to keep spamming that every turn to keep myself in the game for a little bit longer. I'm kind of buying time. And here's where the punishment starts coming in. Getting hit with those 2 flying creatures every turn is going to hurt a lot. But maybe I can turn some things around. We got an enchantment, excuse me, that we can play on the Novice Knight, which means he will be able to attack now. And the Satyr Enchanter allowed us to draw a card. We can send out a mana. And we may as well play the Wary Okapi. Okapi? I think I decided on Okapi. Anyway, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to skip out on the 3 life, and I'm going to put a 1/1 counter on all of my creatures. And I'm going for that face, man, because I can't block those flying creatures. And my opponent can either choose to accept the damage, take it to the face, or he can block it with his ghouls. Alright, he's only going to destroy 1 ghoul. He's going to take 3 damage to the face from the Enchanter. Okay, we're still kind of in this game, but it's going to be tough. It's a very, very steep uphill battle that we have to climb right now. But when we get cards like Prodigious Growth, we might be able to get lethal damage. Let's count this out. This is kind of all or nothing right now. So, play Prodigious Growth. We draw a card. Unfortunately, we didn't draw anything useful. We've got 12 damage with Trample. That's going to get reduced to 10, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Wait a minute. Do I have lethal? He's going to murder something. I know he's going to murder something, but this is all I can do, and it has to be done. Cast Murder. Oh, wait, he doesn't have cards in his hand. Did I just win? No, I didn't just win. Did I just win the game? Nice. All right, this is a pretty decent hand. It's a little bit starved for mana, but I'm gonna believe in the Heart of the Cards a little bit, and I'm gonna stick with it. I know Heart of the Cards is from Yu-Gi-Oh, but it still applies here. So after those first couple of rounds, seeing the different combinations that I can pull, I'm even more excited about the potential of this deck. In general, when I build a deck in Magic the Gathering, I like to have cool combos. I generally don't build anything that is a one-trick pony, because I think that kind of play style is a little bit boring. I don't want to have all burn cards. I don't want to have only creatures. I like to have a good mix of different things that we can do. So I'm going to start off by enchanting the Novice Knight early on. This is going to make him a 4/5, and at this stage in the game, a 4/5 is very powerful. So let's send him out and see what our opponent does. Taking 4 damage on the chin. He obviously wants this for something. Alright, we're going to trade a little bit of damage, but I am ahead of the curve in this trade. And from the looks of things, he might be using a 3-colored deck. This is going to be interesting. I've never fought somebody that's used a 3-colored deck in Magic the Gathering Arena, so I'm curious to see what he's going to do. Spectate. You may cast this spell for its spectate cost rather than its mana cost if an opponent lost life this turn. That's fascinating. Alright, so let's call out another forest. And we're going to use the Mana Geode. This is essentially a mana, but I have to spend 3 mana to get it onto the field, and its additional effect allows me to look at the top card of my library, and I can either choose to put it at the bottom or keep it at the top. I'm going to keep it at the top. And with that, I'm going to go straight for the face again with the Novice Knight. I'm going to keep pressuring him with this guy to see what kind of reactions he does. He's got some powerful creatures on the field, and it seems like he doesn't want to get rid of them. He's feeling confident with all the cards in his hand that he can survive and eventually come back and beat me. Oh, that's amazing. So this is an artifact that allows the mana that he has to act as any color mana. So that's going to facilitate the multicolored nature of his deck. That's amazing. Okay, at this point, though, I want to stop taking hits on the chin. So what I'm going to do is save the Novice Knight. I'm not going to attack with him this turn. Because it's very clear that my opponent has some kind of trick up his sleeve to where he believes he can beat me in a straight-up damage race if we're just trading blows back and forth like this. So I'm going to sit on the Novice Knight, let him defend me a little bit. Ah, here we go. The Gravewalker coming to the field. We've seen this before. That was my friend in my Grave-centric deck. Now, because he has a card like the Gravewalker, I'm going to assume he has other cards that can bring stuff back from the graveyard. So what I'm going to do is activate the Harrowmancer Cage. This, instead of putting something in the graveyard or killing something, it exiles a card. So it essentially just takes it away. And just, you can't access it unless you destroy the enchantment. So that effect seems pretty cool. And I totally forgot this card, the Departed Deckhand, can only be blocked by spirits. So that's going to keep peppering me every turn. Also, I drew a card because of the Satyr Enchanter. Whenever you cast an enchantment, I get to draw a card. Okay. Search your library for an instant card and or a sorcery card. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. Seems like I may have been a little bit worried over nothing. Because I don't know that my opponent has anything crazy in his hand, especially because he's feeling the need to draw cards right now. Yeah, he's a little bit on the ropes right now. Because when you dig your deck, when you play a card that helps you find another card, and the card that you find will allow you to draw more cards, you're a little bit afraid. Okay, so let's go ahead and play a Plains. I'm tired of taking 2 damage every turn from the deckhand, so I'm going to play Luminous Bonds. Target creature cannot... Enchanted creature cannot attack or block. Oh, it's dead. When the deckhand becomes the target of the spell, sacrifice. I should have read that card a little bit better. But in any case, we've gotten rid of it from the battlefield, so that's nice. At this point, though, what I'll do is bring out my Planeswalker. The Wildcrafter is going to be on the field, and I will use his special effect to buff the Satyr Enchanter. There we go. And now I'm going to go for broke, attack with everything. My opponent has no mana, so he can't do anything against this. All he can do is block. That's a smart play. He gave it Death Touch to get rid of my strongest creature. So now he's going to draw 2 cards. Here's the thing about Magic the Gathering. When an opponent has 5 health left, I have a very good reason to be confident right now that I can kill this guy and that I'll win the game. But at the same time, anything can frickin' happen. There are so many different cards in Magic the Gathering, so many ways to approach things, that you can never be 100% sure how things are going to turn out. Unless somebody straight up says, I quit, you won, you got this one. There's always a chance that something crazy is going to happen. Right there, blink of an eye, he got rid of my enchantment, or I think he returned it to my hand. Yeah, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If the spell was kicked, draw a card. It seems like he used both of the effects. So he's got the Gravewalker back on the field. That's very dangerous because he can dig in his graveyard to bring some of the other creatures that he has in there back onto the field. Okay, okay. We're going to buff our Satyr Enchanter again. And I'm going to go for broke a little bit here. We're going to play Prodigious Growth. So even if he blocks this, he still dies. But he's going to counter it. There we go. Ugh. That's rough. Okay. my gosh, this guy is insane. Look at this. I've fallen right into his trap. I've triggered his trap card. Oh my gosh. Oh boy, this is getting a little bit scary. See, this is it, man. I've got a couple more turns to survive before it's game over. Actually, I have one more turn to survive unless I can kill one of the creatures he has on the field. He's not going to attack with everything because he wants to keep a blocker up just in case. See, what can I do here? I can play a mana. I can play the Hieromancer's Cage. I can play the Wary Okapi. Okapi. I'm doing a bad job of talking through this right now because I made a misplay when I played Sealed Away, and I'm a bit nervous that I'm going to lose right now. I don't know what that does. Creatures you control get... what's happening? There's so much going on. This is very dense. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Creatures your opponents control get -1/-1. Wow. We're at a weird place right now, man. We're at a very weird place. But it's not so weird if I play the Pelika Worm. Because the Pelika Worm, when it comes into the field, I gain 7 life. That is going to keep me back in the fight and make my opponent very, very, very uncomfortable. Because his hand is finally empty. He had a good run where he was very, very threatening and very scary. But at this point, I don't imagine there's a lot that he can do to stop me. I think we got this one. Secondary effect that I chose not to read. Spend mana, exile target card from opponent's graveyard. If it was a creature card, you create a 1/1 black and white spirit creature token with flying. Oh boy, this is intimidating. Alright, Colossal Majesty. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card if you have a creature with a power of 4 or greater. Let's call out a mana. And let's play this big boy. And we'll also play the Wildcrafter again. Had 2 of them in my deck, I may as well get some use out of them. So before I send out an attack... Oh, he's saying good game. I think he's numbered. His days are numbered. Man, this guy firmly believes that he can somehow win. Whoa, 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 whoa. When Niv Mitzvah Reborn... When this guy comes onto the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each color pair, choose a card that's exactly those colors from among them. Put the chosen cards into your hand and the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order. A part of me doesn't really understand what that does, but he just got 2 more cards added to his hand, and that seems really cool. This guy is really just fighting tooth and nail to survive, and he's doing a great job of it. And I wonder at this point if I can actually win. This is the most insane deck that I have ever played against. I've just never seen a level of shenanigans to this degree. He's been on the ropes for the last 7 turns maybe, but he's managed to survive. I'm gonna play Pledge of Unity. Put a 1/1 counter on... Wait, no, I'm going to do this in the right order. First, I'm going to play Druid of the Cowl. Hello. And then I'm going to play Pledge of Unity. Put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and you gain 1 life for each creature you control. And there we go. I'm pretty sure if I attack with everything, there's no way that he can... Or there's no way he can survive. So... Let me tip my hat to this guy. This is the most amazing deck that I've ever gone up against. This was just really cool. I mean, just the level of tactics that we saw employed from my opponent's side of the field was phenomenal. And that is a true testament to the creativity and the development that goes into Magic the Gathering, because I have never, ever seen anything like that. That was amazing. But we still won, though, so that means our deck was pretty good. That means I had some pretty good strategies as well, even though I made a misplay in there with one of my cards, but it's not a big deal. We won, so I'm happy about that. And there we go, folks. That's going to wrap up Magic the Gathering for today. I had 2 good matches. It's always nice to come out on the other side with a win, but I lose my fair share of games as well, and those can be fun too, but for different reasons. With that said, we're going to wrap it up here, so if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. As always, the name of the game is Magic the Gathering Arena. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.